caucus, and I'm pleased to yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Connecticut, the Honorable John Larson.
The gentleman from Connecticut is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Meek. And also let me thank my colleagues across the aisle for the solemnity and of the debate that's taken place over these last several days. I think it's so important to the constituents that we are sworn to serve, and they deserve to hear the voices that reside within the people's chamber. This debate, in so many ways, is an echo chamber for what Americans already know. They have found their voice and expressed it in several manners, in several forms. Most notably, in last November's election, where they called for a new direction for this country, not the staying of the course that it's currently on. It's long overdue, then, that the Congress find its voice as well. Past is prologue, and we must go back to June of 2002, when the President initiated and enunciated the Bush Doctrine, the doctrine of preemption and unilateralism that has placed us in this situation that we have today in Iraq. He was warned, most notably by people like Scowcroft, Eagleburger, Baker, Colin Powell, about the folly of this effort. It wasn't Kennedy or Byrd or even Larson or other people that spoke out as eloquently as those former members of Bush the Elder's cabinet. I traveled with Jack Murtha in the build-up to the war, and we met with our ambassador in Saudi Arabia, Robert Jordan, who I said to him, "Ambassador, you have a gathering storm here in Saudi Arabia with all the tensions in the Middle East." And he said, "Congressman, you're from New England. Gathering storm?" He said, "What we have here is the making of a perfect storm. And if we unilaterally invade and attack this toothless tiger, Saddam Hussein, we will unwittingly accomplish what Osama bin Laden failed to do. We will create a united Islamic jihad against the United States." Professor Graham Ellison wrote that this occupation has diverted essential resources from the fight against al-Qaeda, allowed the Taliban to regroup in Afghanistan, fostered neglect of the Iranian nuclear threat, undermined alliances critical to preventing terrorism, devastated America's standing with every country in Europe, and destroyed it in the Muslim world. Instead of following the wisdom of Scowcroft and Eagleburger and Baker, Powell, this administration embraced Ahmad Chalabi with all the hubris and arrogance of staying the course. And so we find our troops today in the midst of civil war, in the midst of sectarian, religious, and tribal conflicts that are more about settling old scores that seek revenge over the centuries than about creating a democracy. And it is into that cauldron that we wish to send more troops in the face that 87% of the Iraqi public says they want a timeline for us to be out of there. And over 50% of them think that it's okay to kill Americans. Our troops need leadership that's worthy of their sacrifice. It is important that this Congress, on both sides of the aisle, as it has done, understands the difference between the war and the warriors. I conduct hearings back in my district I listen to what my constituents have to say. And most earnestly to those parents, those men and women who come to these hearings and talk about their children in harm's way.
Additional 30 seconds.
The gentleman is recognized for an additional 30 seconds.
Carol Tripp of Bristol said it best. A woman with 3 or 4 of her sons and her husband stationed in Iraq who hasn't shared a holiday with their entire family since 2001. I define success by being able to look into their eyes and tell them that the best path forward is the safe, secure, and strategic redeployment of our troops so that our army can regroup and restore itself and proceed after the people who took the towers down in systematic fashion to go after al-Qaeda and continue to regroup.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may.
Gentleman is recognized for much